We're going to start with the stories now from each of the tables. And please observe the time limit. We're asking that you provide us with 3 minutes each.
And one of the organizers of the events have asked that if you are sharing a story with us this evening or are reporting back from your table, that you, on your way out, leave any contact information for folks to maybe do some follow-up with you later on. Now, our microphone is here in the middle. Of course, we're recording this, and there are several folks from various media outlets this evening as well. So again, if you don't want to share your name, obviously you don't have to. The first person that would like to report is Sarah from a table that's someplace back there. And so we want to give her that opportunity. Remember that we have 3 minutes to share with folks what was discussed or a particular story.
My name is Anna Namaste, and my table wanted me to come up to tell you about our conversation. We talked about how in our grandparents' generation, it was possible for there to be one person working and own a home and have a large family, and they were able to make that. And that's not true now. We have 2 incomes in my family. I have 1 child, not 9 like my grandpa, but we can't afford a home yet. So we also talked about how a lot of people are facing poverty and the housing crisis and not being able to afford medication, not growing their own food anymore like they did in our grandparents' generation. So some of the people at my table are looking at in 10 years being retired and on a fixed income and facing poverty and possibly not being able to afford medical bills and just a decrease in quality of life. And I was saying in 10 years I hope that I will be able to own a green home and have a solar-powered, wind-powered home with an organic farm in my backyard and be able to feed my kids. And but that's my vision, is that we move towards a society that's not like the one that we're in right now. And in some ways it's moving back to the grandparents' life of growing your own food. And we talked about the loss of community and how we used to have very strong communities and tight families. And now the way that our society is less responsive to the people and more responsive to corporations, that our jobs relocate us and our families are spread apart and people and families and communities are not first. So that we have this dream that in 10 years we have this positive vision of New Mexico being a place where green jobs and clean energy and families and communities are strengthened, and that's our hope. Thanks.
We have the next person, Victor.
Good evening. At our table, we were looking at today as compared to yesterday, and one of the biggest things that we could see was that back in the days of our grandfathers, they were very independent, and that they did not use very many resources as far as electricity because there was none, fuel because they didn't need it, they had horses, and one in particular, GMO seeds. It's a big concern for us in northern New Mexico because we have seeds that have been around as long as our grandparents and are still here, and our grandparents are gone. And it's still providing a food that is just as good as it was then. So our concern really was about these GMO seeds and how we can protect ourselves. What is it that makes this GMO so important to the world? Well, I think it's all about money and corporations and their ways. One of the biggest things at our table as well was the youth, as opposed to maybe educating them to become something. We were all about them being something today that they already are. They already are our children that are raised here in our community with our culture and on our land, and they know how to do this. So why do they have to wait to become this? They already are. We raise our food, and I work with the mobile matanza, and I go out and I'm harvesting these animals. When I do this, I do it in a very respectful and thankful manner. I'm grateful for these animals. I'm grateful most of all for the farmers and ranchers that raise them with passion and love. I believe that when I put this steak onto the table for you, the passion and love is there, and that it's going to go into your body. I believe that animals are very sensitive to my feelings, so that if I don't walk in respectfully and gratefully, they're going to tremble, especially sheep. Plants, on the other hand, are very hands-on, feely, touchy kind of creatures. They like that. And I don't know what GMO's like. I know that they like to grow bigger and stronger, and they think that they're better than everything else, but yet in northern New Mexico, if you've got a 14-degree morning like it was Saturday, GMOs lay down to die. Native plants, they just wait. They know eventually summer will be here. Thank you.
Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
I'm Alma Rivera, and I'm reporting from the table closest to the door back there. We had a very good discussion about all three questions, and I'll share with you the summary of issues that we came up with as a table. One of the main issues that was focused on very much was the environment. Global warming and the use of alternative resources, and very, very important, nuclear weapons. We feel that, especially this relates to New Mexico because of Los Alamos and the nuclear waste in our land, and we think that the U.S. needs to lead the nuclear disarmament and end the production of nuclear weapons. We also, as a public, as citizens, need to be aware of the money behind nuclear production on the federal, state, and local level when it comes to supporting candidates and private issues. We think that ending nuclear disarmament will create jobs and change for cleaning up our world and environment and making the world a better place for our children and future generations. As far as education goes, we need to get rid of the No Child Left Behind Act, we need to expand educational programs at local colleges and universities that are going to train these citizens to be able to take over these jobs to clean up our environment from nuclear waste and other harmful practices. We need to improve the education system in general and use schools as a way to educate students about environmental, social, and economic issues, as well as promote political involvement, true political involvement. We think it's important to look at preventative solutions versus find and fix solutions in the community as well as institutions. And very, very important on every single issue we discuss is bottom-up solutions on every issue. Bottom-up from youth to adults, bottom-up from grassroots to institutions to Washington. And directly, we need to educate our young people because they are the future right now, as several speakers said, about breaking the cycles of violence and addiction that have been passed on from generation to generation so that we don't pass those on to our children. And lastly, most importantly, to all you candidates who took the time to be here, we would love, myself, our table, and behalf on all the young people who showed up tonight, for you to participate in another event like this directly for young people, so you can acknowledge the voice and the issues of young people through Campaign 2020, through Youth Allies, through Earth Care, through all these organizations that are creating active participants from youth and representing true youth voice. So I leave you with that challenge. If you'd like to participate in another event like this directly for young people, we would really like that. Thank you.